Welcome to the Occult Rejects. This episode got somebody on that I'm very excited to have on. It's kind of like their second time, but not. She's been on Headless's mailbag, but this is technically the Occult Rejects. So, yes, this is her first time on the Occult Rejects specifically. And I'm very happy to have Deborah on. But before I introduce her, I will be introducing the other reject that made it with us. And we got Headless Giant. What is going on, sir? How are you?
How you doing, everybody? Happy Sunday night. So you can find me at the Headless Giant on X and on Instagram and on YouTube. And I have a show with Nick on Thursday nights called the Magical Mailbag, where I read through your occult / paranormal / dream story experiences. And you can send those emails to headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com. Also, tomorrow I've got Alchemy Mondays coming up, and we're going to be doing some experiments with a big old Soxolite extractor I recently got and a vacuum pump, and we're going to be making some tea because I don't have any fresh herbs. So we're going to do tea at first, and then we're going to try other things. So it's going to be fun. And also, Sunday mornings, I'm on with Ricardo and Ethan Indigo, and we do the Sunday trialogues where we bring a topic and we discuss it. So definitely check those out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And I appreciate you joining us. And yes, for the people listening, again, send out if you're going to send them any email or anything, if you want free stickers, send your address, and I will send you out some free stickers. Thank you, Headless. And finally, to the guest, Deborah. Please, let everybody know what your deal is. For the most part, I am having you on because you are a medium and you're into healing. And we had you on again, like I said, for Headless's mailbag, and you had some interesting stories, but you really didn't get to talk about like what you do, what your thing is. And I kind of wanted to give you the chance to do that. So please let everybody know where they can find your stuff. Like, I know you have a YouTube and Instagram. Let them, you promote yourself. Tell them everything that you want.
All right. So main place to find me is definitely my website. So www.paranormalparadigma.com. And through there, you can check me out and, go through my stuff and get to know me a little better. And then obviously, if you want to directly, get to know me a little better, then you go to Instagram or TikTok or Threads or YouTube, and you can find me there at the same handle at Paranormal Paradigma. And through there, you can learn a little bit about what I do. I explain some of the things that I've learned and why it's important and help people essentially connect to spirit and themselves. And hopefully the purpose is to embody their purpose. So that's kind of what I do. So if you're interested in that, then check me out.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Headless, were you getting feedback on that before?
A little bit. It's a little clicky, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, for some reason it was like a little clicky, but it wasn't like that when you were talking before. Deborah, sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
All right.
Deborah, I wanted to know where you got the name Paranormal Paradigma.
Oh, yes. So let's start from the beginning. So when I started this, I wasn't a medium. So I'm going to be real with you all. I've only been a medium for over a year. This isn't something that I've been doing my whole life and have now this whole practice around it. I have a 9-to-5 job. I do work. But my medium skills didn't really set in until last year. And so when I started Paranormal Paradigma, I was sort of on a different path, though very similar trajectory. So the reason it's called Paranormal Paradigma is because I really do believe that we're here on Earth right now in a paradigm shift where things like the paranormal, the idea of the paranormal isn't entirely what I guess Hollywood or society has made it out to be. There's a lot more to the paranormal, a lot more profoundness, a lot more depth to it that's related to the spiritual that people I think are coming into an understanding of. And so the whole reason for Paranormal Paradigma was to help people sort of come into this understanding, kind of overcome the stigma, overcome the fear, overcome the stereotypes that's related to the paranormal and paranormal experiences, because so many people have paranormal or spiritual experiences and then they don't really know who to talk to about these things. So I figured that's where I would start. And I started that 2023, and 2 years later, well, 2024, I come into my abilities, and now 2025, I'm keeping with the same thing, but now at another level because I'm actually able to access the paranormal or spiritual realm and kind of help people in a very different way. But I'm still of the mindset and of the belief that there is a paradigm shift happening, and I'm kind of hoping to like, help people through that.
Final frontier of consciousness.
Pretty much, exactly.
Yeah, I was going to ask you your opinion. Like, what does this paradigm shift mean to you?
It means remembering. It means awakening. It means understanding that we're not just meat suits. We're like, we're divine entities in a physical vessel. This is just one realm of many. And so if we can all remember that and our true essence, this whole society and this whole earth would look a whole lot different. So that's what the shift is. It's more of a remembering.
Do you think with having that remembrance, just comes like some sort of liberation in a sense?
Well, yeah, because remembering connects you to your truth, and through your truth, you are liberated.
Yeah, no, I even just think like, yeah, even when you start to like think that this is just one experience among many, it's just like, why fear the other ones? You know what I'm saying? Why fear the
Right.
experience so much?
Yeah. And people fear, well, I mean, essentially the very definition or basis of fear is the unknown,
Okay.
right? Like you won't fear things that you are aware of. You don't fear what's coming. You only fear what you don't know what's coming. And death is one of those things, or like transition is one of those things that people don't understand because we're not essentially programmed, I guess, to really understand that we are, though, capable of remembering. So that's part of what I help people do.
Now, Hellas, was there anything you wanted to ask or say before I continued?
Oh yeah, I think in my experience, the fear is what turns a paranormal experience from one of a comforting or a coming home or a remembering to something that is truly horrific and
Right.
terrible. So getting over that fear and moving past that fear, I think is so important when it comes to exploring these topics in these realms. So having a way to assuage that, I think, is really helpful. The one I keep going back to is Pan. So Pan is this god
Hmm.
of Arcadia that is the
Right.
root word for panic, right? And so he's also a god of
Yes.
the rural countryside. And the ability to move through the panic when he appears would be sort of like the rites of Pan. And we think about Bigfoot and all of these other weird cryptids in the woods that create a fear in us. It's that same form of panic. And the
Right.
Native Americans believed that Bigfoot was a messenger. He was bringing messages from the other side or messages from spirit. And in our culture, he's just a big, scary, hairy monster, right? It's because that's how we approach him. We don't approach him as a
Right.
messenger. We approach him as this horrible thing.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. And I love the fact that you understand that the term panic really can and does at a certain level relate to Pan. Especially being that Pan was such a trickster himself. So it really is interesting that when it comes to fear and panic, we have to remember that there is sort of like an illusion or trickster energy to this. And that's sort of part of the journey is understanding how much of that is really the illusion, is really not true. But that's part of the healing process, and that's something that only the individual can go through and must go through on their own. It's an individual journey after all. Yeah.
Definitely
It's one
individual.
of those rare instances where you've got a random initiation happening in the woods for no apparent reason. Like people just feel that fear come over them and they're like, I got to get out of here. And then other people are like, I know who that is. I know that guy. I remember this.
Yeah. Yeah, but then that goes back and kind of ties into a few things. That ties into your knowledge or your gnosis and how connected you are to that. And then it's also going to tie into the programming you already have or what you've essentially been taught your whole life, right? So it kind of depends on that. So you got two schools there.
It's a really good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanted to ask, obviously, I mean, you have paranormal and you've had paranormal experiences.
very much.
Was like at what point, like I guess, was paranormal always like kind of a part of your life? Like at one point, like did you start entertaining all and it was it
So,
something that happened to you, or was it a movie or a book you read?
well, the thing is that like, when I feel like a lot of us when we're younger, we're at a certain level susceptible to these experiences.
Oh
And
yeah.
I definitely was one of them, right? That one of the individuals who I guess had experiences but didn't really know how to explain them or understand them because everybody, obviously, all the adults used to say the same thing, which was, this is not real, that's a figment of your imagination, or you're just imagining things, and blah, 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 blah. So when I was younger, I do remember two instances that really stood out to me. One was really quick. I was in fourth grade. Actually, both of these happened to me in fourth grade now that I think about it. I was in fourth grade, so what, I was like 8 or 9 years old. And I remember I was brushing my hair in my parents' room, getting ready for school, and suddenly I see a black figure, like a black shadow in the mirror. But the freaky part was like I turned around and for a split second it was still behind me. And then it just disappeared. And I was like, what's that? And so I ran out and I remember just like screaming. I think my grandmother was the one at the time, she was there or something staying over. I don't know, or maybe it was the next day. I don't remember exactly the timeline, but I do remember my grandmother was the only one who was like believing me. And she said, oh, well, the next time that you see a spirit, she's like, oh, that was a spirit. And I was like, okay. And she's like, well, the next time you see a spirit, you offer it a glass of water. And I was like, what? I was like, I don't understand. Now I do, obviously. Water is very sacred and protective. So when you offer water to entities or you have water in your room, it's actually very cleansing and can help remove the energies or negative energies. So in the way she was saying it, obviously wasn't like, oh, this is a bad spirit and you need to remove it and cleanse your space. It was just like, oh, it's gonna be fine. Here, just put water in your room. Everything will be okay. And I was like, okay, lady. Little did I know how right she was for about many things. But anyway, then at another point in my fourth grade year, um, I was awake, and I was the only one awake along with my mother. So my dad and my sister were sleeping. And this was early 90s, early mid 90s. And my mom used to go outside and hang the laundry to dry outside, but at night, on the clothes hangers, and so, or the line, whatever you call it. And then I was just in my room. I don't remember what I was doing. I remember I was in my room, maybe reading or something, and she screams my name. It was just like this, like just scream that I thought something was happening because it was even in Spanish. She yelled my name in Spanish. She was like, Deborah! And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And so my mom didn't really speak that. I mean, she spoke Spanish, but she didn't really speak to me in Spanish. So for me, there was just something like, okay, something's going on here. So I run outside and she's like, come here, come here, come here. And I go to her and she kind of ducks down to me. She puts her hand around me, like her arm around me, and she points to the sky and she's like, do you see that? And I'm like, yeah, lady, there's a light in the sky. And she's like, and I'm like, it's an airplane, mom. Like, I don't understand why you called me out here for this. And she's like, no. She's like, no, it is moving too slow. I need you to look at this. And I'm like, okay. And I'm staring at this thing in the sky. And she, like it kind of started to settle in, like in those, like in the movie when things like kind of settle in, like really slowly. You're like, oh my God. And I'm looking at this UFO and I'm like, oh my God. And so we run out into the front yard and it's just hovering. It like got closer and then it started hovering over like the neighbors' houses, like maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 blocks down or something. Um, Enough for me to see the shape. So it was like typical saucery shape. But it was so colorful. It was just beautiful. It was like colors and the colors were dancing. And I was just like mesmerized for a few minutes until it dawned on me that there's probably aliens on that craft. And if there's aliens on the craft, I'm going to get abducted. And so I freaked out. And then I ran inside and I kind of sat in a corner of the kitchen by the refrigerator, just like in a fetal position, like just hoping that I wouldn't get abducted, basically, while my mom is like trying to find the camcorder and oh my God, I need to record this for your father instead of waking him up, by the way. Um, that was an interesting question. What was that question? I'm sorry.
I think it was like a comment.
Why do I remember from 50 years ago my granddad gave me the best bit of my grandma's rice pudding? Interesting. I don't
That's
know. But kind of I guess depends on how long was 50 years ago. Was he even alive 50 years ago? But anyway, so the point is that I saw this UFO and then my mom couldn't record it. By the time she came outside with the camcorder, it was only like 5 minutes. It was gone. It was off. It was gone. It's like it never existed. And you know, after that, I grew up in a household, guys, where my dad was a complete atheist and my mom was like Roman Catholic Santera. And
oh, really?
I
Really?
yeah, yeah, but like she didn't practice the sanctity as much because my mom's very chicken shit and she was very like but then like my great aunt, her aunt, was like a priestess and stuff like that. So like I grew up and then my cousins, I have another my mom's sister married into the Islam religion, so like my cousins are Muslim. And then I have other family who were like Christian. Then I had my grandmother who was like religious, but like not, but then very spiritual. I grew up like very exposed
Very
to very many different belief systems. Yeah. And so I ended up becoming atheist like my father for a while, until he died actually. And so, and then that kind of whole turn of events happened there because he came to visit me in his death, or right before he died, or right after he died. I don't remember, I don't exactly know which one. But then that sort of led me to sort of question reality and what we understand reality to be, and started going down the more esoteric, spiritual, occult route. And here I am today. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So, can I ask you, what does mediumship mean to you?
Mediumship for me is the ability to be a bridge or a medium between the spirit realm and the physical realm. You are literally the medium or point of contact. So, mediumship, a lot of people think like, oh, you're a medium, you can talk to the dead. Well, yeah, but it's so much bigger than that because if you are at, mediums, by the way, can be anybody. You can be a medium, Nick can be a medium, everybody can be a medium. Like this is literally like a possibility for everyone. If you are getting messages from the other side, you are a budding medium. Now, it just depends on the level that the levels of understanding, your ego, your consciousness, your awareness. Like there's so many factors, which is why there's so many different ranges within mediums and mediumship or psychic abilities. But medium abilities and psychic abilities are intertwined. Um, and so it really just kind of depends. But at the end of the day, why am I a medium and why I say I'm a medium and I don't call myself psychic and I don't call myself like a divinator or things like that is because I understand that what I'm able to do is bridge two worlds. And whatever that looks like is what it looks like. But if I say I'm a psychic, people are going to be like, oh, so you can tell my future? I'm like, it's not that simple. Like these things are very complex, and it also depends on your innate gifts. And everybody has a range of gifts. And while we can access a lot of them, what you essentially develop and hone in on is going to depend on you. And while I have psychic abilities, that's a whole nother thing. My biggest, I guess, flex or whatever is to be able to connect conscious energy to you and like bridge that connection um as a channel.
Right. So we were talking a little bit before about maybe taking a reading or something about some of the comments in the chat over there. So if you guys have any sort of comments or questions that you'd like to throw at Deborah, she's willing to take them. So we'll throw that out there now for anybody in
Yeah,
the audience.
it'll be interesting because usually my readings, I don't do live readings, so it's going to be interesting how these come through. But we'll
Right.
see.
Well,
Like, I mean, I do, yeah.
we've done
Huh?
live remote viewings before on the show where we
Oh,
integrate
yeah.
the
That
audience
was
in. So
fun.
yeah,
That
it
was
was.
fun.
Remote viewing is wild. Like
Do
when
I
I
send
remote view, yeah, when I
All right.
remote view, I'm just like, I can't believe I'm seeing all these things that I'm actually here in this room right now. So it's just really, really interesting. Remote viewing is a whole experience in
When
itself.
when did that start happening for you? If you don't, if you maybe
Um,
mind maybe taking us through like maybe the first time you realize this is what's going on or whatever, right? Just the best way you can.
wow. Um, it's all really fresh in my head because it just happened last year. Again, I wasn't, even though I was going down a spiritual path and learning about the occults and all these beautiful things, there was obviously a level of skepticism, right, within me. And I think this is very natural and normal for people to have. There's a healthy amount of skepticism that you need to have. You can't just blindly follow whatever people say because that is not the point. And also people, again, have a different varying levels of understanding, and not everything is necessarily truth. And if it is truth, you have to remember that it is relative. So it's about coming home and coming back to your truth. But anyway, what I started doing was fucking around, and then I found out. So I yeah, started using dowsing rods. And that was an experience for me because it was the first time that I had some sort of, I guess, like physical evidence that something was communicating. Do you understand? Like through the dowsing rods. And I was so like in disbelief. I was like, there is no fucking way something conscious is speaking to me right now through these rods. Like there's just no way. It has to be like, you know, my I don't know, reflexes or some sort of like mini tremors or like, anything that people say I went through and I was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. But I decided to continue doing this and just ask questions and see what kind of answers I would get. And then I had my sister do it, who's also like a non-believer skeptic. And then I had my husband do it, who's like a believer, but like also like scared shitless. And then like we were getting very similar things, and we were like, there's just no way that this is not real. Like there's something here that we don't understand. And then one day, my sister decided to grab the dowsing rods, and like I lent them to her. And I had no way now to communicate with these entities that were apparently speaking to me through the dowsing rods. And then of course I've studied, I've learned, and I'm like, I don't need those fucking dowsing rods. I'm the vessel. I'm the conduit. I can do this. And so I started figuring that out. And I did. And then, oh my God, I went through a very, very, very challenging trial, and the beings that came to me were not fucking around. It got so bad, and this is a true story. You can corroborate it with my husband, who I'm now separated with, and my sister, who, had the family scared. Like my family was legitimately scared because things were happening that nobody could explain. And there were moments where I could not speak to anybody. I had to be isolated. It was like everybody was like, she's going through a spiritual psychosis. Like she is like psychotic. And I remember it kept being like, I'm not psychotic. I have to do these things. And then I went to a psych ward for 3 days. That was great. Got evaluated, clean bill of health, went to a forensic psychologist for a year, got evaluated, clean bill of health. And everybody was just like, you're fine. And my forensic psychologist was like, Deborah, you have a gift. You need to pursue that. Pursue it. And I said, okay. And so within my forensic psychologist and then like also my guides and team, my spiritual team, were like, start doing readings and you're gonna see for yourself what you can do. And and then a year later, here I am doing readings and seeing myself what I can do. And my gifts have evolved very much since the beginning, from like only getting little words and little bits and pieces to like full on conversations to like symbols coming in and me being my body. So true story, I can see something that I don't recognize consciously. For instance, a sacred text or a sacred photo or like some sort of image. And I involuntarily bow to this thing. Or I can react to a different language and not know the language. I don't know how I do it. But remote viewing is one of these things that has entered into my abilities too. And I can just like pull from like things and just like get information on top of the fact that then I channel direct conscious energy in the form of your spirit guides, your loved ones, your pets, ancestors, protective spirits, gods, deities. It doesn't matter.
Well, I got another one. So, which do you think is the strongest sense for you? Clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance? Which one do you think resonates the most when you're having an experience like this?
All of them. It's just I'm that open. At first, it was more of a clear shit. When it first started, it was clear, more like a clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clear. It was clairaudience, clairvoyance, and clairsentience. I'm very, very. It was, and the clairsentience was probably the strongest. And I feel like if I had to choose one, it would be the clairsentience. But like everything comes in, so I can do it all.
Great, great. Very nice. Good, Nick.
That was just some really interesting stuff.
Keep looking for those comments, guys. Get those questions in. Let's see what we can do here.
Probably very skeptical. You have a very skeptical audience, which is great, but it's part of what you do.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but I wasn't like taking that really with you. I actually believed you were serious. You know, yeah. It's just stuff that I have no experience with. A lot of the things though that you're saying, you were saying to me, just reminds me a lot of experiences I've had when I've. I mean, I don't know what I consider them, your magical experiences or whatever. It would almost be like this stream of ideas, or these stream of like thoughts that come into my head.
Right.
Yeah, it's just there was a lot of things that you were saying before that I was just like, wow, that just reminds me a lot of my own experiences. Or it's almost even
I
like,
was.
yeah,
This
No,
guy's trying
I
to take us
was.
to the
I
deep
have
end.
not. Interesting. I have not tried to channel Aiwas. Aiwas is a very old and ancient being and very reserved. And honestly, if I were to channel Aiwas, he probably would not be okay with it as he's very not not as open to being channeled by measly humans, if that makes any sense.
Right. So this guy was associated with the channeling of the Book of the Law by Aleister Crowley. And so IWAS was the channel for all of this, do as thou wilt. I'm sure you've heard that phrase before. That was a Crowley phrase from the Book of the Law. And he had all of these confirmations as he's going through the Egyptian museum for this IWAS character from a stele. What was the name of that stele, Nick? I forgot it.
Stele of Revelation. His girl Rose pointed it out actually, right. And it was at a which I do question her existence to begin with. It was and it was number 666. That was the number of the you know how like everything in a museum has its own number on it. That was the number 2 of the item that she pointed out to him, saying, "Oh, that's Horus." Supposedly, she was pointing out Horus, and he was like, saying that she really had no idea about any of that shit, which I find weird that she's with him and has no idea about that stuff at all. But still, she pointed it out, saying, "Oh, that's Horus," and that's how it became the Stele of Revelation. And it was again number 666 as the item number, which they focusing on too.
Right. So
Mm.
he's all about the changing of the age, and that's what sort of the book of the law was predicting or bringing about.
Well,
Yeah,
I can't tell you much about the Book of the Law. I just understand the being himself.
that was interesting that you knew Deborah from. Yeah, how did what is ayahuasca associated with? Like, what kind of like? How did you like? How do you know of ayahuasca?
I don't. I don't think you really understand how this works. I consciously, as Deborah, do not know who the fuck I was is. But I can tell you that if you were to talk to me about a certain god or goddess, I can probably answer things through what my higher self, integrated self knows. Ayahuasca is apparently a being, and this is another thing too that I feel like needs to be said. There are collective individual, like collective, so collective beliefs also can create beings. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
the egregore.
exactly. So it just really depends. So anyway, but yeah, I it's a complicated thing that I do, but I don't understand, and I wish I can explain this to you um in a way that makes more sense. The only thing that gives me great semblance is that I've obviously have been doing this for a year and have had countless readings, and the information that I'm able to pull is super accurate. I don't know how. And not only that, there's obviously science that backs up a lot of this stuff. I don't know if you know the IONS Institute, the IONS or Monroe Institute that
Oh yeah, Monroe
does
Institute for
research.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Monroe Institute, and then there's IONS in
Yeah.
California, the Institute of Noetic Sciences.
Yep.
Yeah, and they do
There you go.
conscious studies. So I'm reading more of that, and Dr. Dean Radin is one of the scientists over at um, IONS, and his work basically is talking about the bridge of science and magic and how, it's all in there and there is proof. It's just, you know, people. So, and society.
Well, I got one. We talked about Pan. Why don't we get into a little bit of talking with Pan? Oh,
Hold
here we
on.
go. We got a good one.
I have a deep connection with somebody very dear to me. However, they've only visited me in dreams. Is there anything they want me to know in this particular moment? Ooh, Marla. You have a very deep connection with somebody dear to you. Dream. Hmm. Mm-mm. Is there a way she can confirm things that I get?
Yeah, just let it out, and then she'll comment
Okay,
if
okay.
right.
All right, Marla. Somebody very dear to you. Hmm. Why are you afraid of the answer? Is the first one. Secondly, it seems like dreams. It's one of the only ways that they can get to you. And I'm getting a female. Is it a female? Can you please confirm this before I keep going? Male,
Yeah.
female.
And so hopefully they're still listening.
Hopefully they're
One thing,
still listening. Hmm.
can I ask you questions as we go along, or do you want to
Yeah,
just?
go. I don't
I
need
do.
it kind. Mhm.
All right, I just didn't want to like screw you all up, just in case.
No, no.
All right. Do you happen to have like any? I don't hate to say like ritualistic life, but like, do you happen to have like certain practices that you do throughout the day? Like, is meditation something you incorporate now that you didn't before? Like, is there different life practices that you have now since things have changed?
Prayer,
Nice, interesting.
prayer, but not prayer to like through a book or whatnot. Prayer in the form of gratitude. So I obviously have my little baby altar back here. And I honor all things. Yes! Yeah, girl. Thank you, honey. So, and we'll keep going. I'm gonna answer next question and then we'll go. Marla, there's so much coming through. Okay, let's go. But Nick, yeah, prayer. And the reason for prayer is because as you evolve and as you awaken, you realize what you are and what you're connected to, and how all of this is really a divine miracle. And you get more in touch with yourself and like with the beings that, depending on your level or whatever. But point is that I'm super grateful for the life that I have now and for the fact that I'm still alive because I almost died coming to this ability. So it was I'm a very, very grateful person. Oh, Marla. But that's my biggest shift because obviously I was an atheist and I didn't believe in anything. I thought prayer was something else actually. I thought people prayed to ask for things. I didn't realize prayer is essentially gratitude. So saying thank you. I'd piss, not a female, but somewhat feminine energy. Good. Okay. Well, I definitely got female or feminine energy. So thank you for confirming that. And the reason that they come to you in the dreams is because they know that you have the ability to dream and to hold on. What is coming through? Obviously, you have the ability to dream, but it's the messages that come in your dreams. Marla, do you also dream in no astral? So is there like a connection between you and the astral realm and if you dream walk or like move through the realms? Then on top of that, this person spirit, hmm,
This is getting good.
well, obviously there's a message of love, and I'm getting, and I almost feel like, duh, but there's also a message of, what is that? Hold on. What am I holding? All right, Marla, I'm holding something. Is it a gift? There's like a gift or an important heirloom or something that belonged to this person that you have and you pray to or you keep, and then what do you do with this? There is something very important, very connected to this being. Can you confirm? And I'm holding it. Why am I holding it? What is this? Yeah, Deb, I'm dreaming of the person introduced himself as Tom last night. Can you please tell me who is Tom? Likely a guide.
Oh, that's you know what? That's a completely different one. Sorry. I did. It
Yeah,
was
it's
it
okay.
had a green emojis, green color, so I thought it was the same person. I'm like, oops.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
Tom
I was
sounds
gonna.
like a guide, but let's see.
We're doing quick fire.
Marla, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fire mediumship.
Throw up another one. Sorry, I wasn't trying to throw them at you like that.
no,
Yeah.
it's okay.
That's fine. It's good.
I'm
Kind
still
of helps
holding
actually.
something. What is this? It's not heavy. Marla, I'm gonna keep going. It's not heavy. It almost feels like either a piece of jewelry, yeah, or like a scroll, but no, it's not a scroll. It's either jewelry or cloth. It's like something that I can hold and interesting. Can you confirm, Marla? I look crazy doing this. Um, but
Sure.
that's what that is. Mostly liminal. Accuse me of doing some astral, but not consciously. Perfect. You're confirming. Yes, you do astral. The problem is your fear of the astral and your your skepticism. But that happens a lot. So in order to continue to do astral and meet people in your astral and communicate with the beings, you're going to have to let go of some of these preconceived notions of what you understand the spirit realm or the astral realm to be. What am I holding, Marla? Unless that
Here's a,
was for somebody else.
here's another question that I'm going to show from somebody else that I think like you can answer
Yeah.
this without getting stuck into something else. This
Yeah.
is a really good question.
Very interesting exploring my own gifts. Where would you suggest beginning? I'm in the beginning of a Hemi-Sync program from Monroe. Oh, really nice.
Yeah, I threw
So
that Monroe.
yeah. So one of the things that you want to do, what was his name?
That was
Homestead Tradwife.
yep.
Someone said
Homestead.
Trad White. Oh, it's her. Sorry. I thought I said Trad as a boy. Okay, so Marla says that her house is a whole altar for this person, but there's something specific that I'm holding, Marla. What is this? Either piece of jewelry. My house is basically an altar. Yes, all our houses, several pieces of jewelry, but related to that person specifically? Question. Now, with the girl that wants to develop her abilities, the key to developing your abilities, and this is what I help people do, like legitimately. And this is my specialty, and you can see this in my website, is subconscious healing. So the access to the soul is through the subconscious. And if you want to become more in tune with yourself and your authentic self and your true nature or your purpose, which is your purpose, by the way. Purpose isn't something external of you. Purpose is who you are, what you are authentically, divinely. So if you want to access your divine gifts, you have to access your purpose, your truth, and that comes through subconscious healing and deprogramming what's been programmed for all these years. So start there. Shadow work, but at a deeper level,
I like that shadow work. Very good
but at a
suggestion.
deeper level.
Yes.
Hmm.
We were talking about that last show that we did prior to you about doing shadow work
Seems to
and
be
like
the theme.
from
Shadow Work Sunday. Shadow Work Sunday.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's gonna be for trad something wife. As also clothing, my father's name is Thomas and my grandson. So interesting.
That's wild. So you were thinking cloth and jewelry, so that covered both.
Yeah, so it could have been both, but I don't know exactly what I was holding, but it's something very specific, almost like I feel like it was gift, not gifted. No. What? So if it wasn't, so it was almost like an heirloom. Do you have any heirloom pieces
This is what I was feeling. Like when you were talking about that, this is what popped into my head. So I don't know how close that is, but that's what I was feeling.
for the jewelry piece?
Right.
Interesting. It's not, it doesn't have snakes. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Good. Okay. So, yeah, does it? Okay. A lot to clothing. My father's name is Thomas and my grandson. Okay. It seems like Marla, what you have to start doing is opening yourself to be the channel, be the receptive energy or the receptor for this being, this person to come through to you. It obviously seems that he has a lot to say and some apologies to make, mostly surrounding his, no, whoa,
Yeah.
no, no. It's, what is this? Mostly surrounding his death. Okay. Confirm, Marla. Yeah. So this is what I'm doing now is sort of accessing my own psychic abilities. If I had like a person with me, like I'm reading for a human, typically what I do is then access their guide or whoever loved one comes through, and they get to speak to them one on one because I again act as a channel, so they can speak directly to their spirit team or directly to their loved one, as opposed to what I'm doing now, which is sort of like trying to like figure out all this energy that's coming through and figure out what's for Marla, as opposed to what can be for like the other people, which is a little difficult. So that's why I need her to confirm. A ring. Interesting. I think there's something there, Marla. So is it the ring? We're getting a yes. So the ring is part of it. And the ring is probably one of the strongest things because you wear it. So that kind of makes sense why I was holding it. And that's why I did this. Okay, got it. So probably why I also felt it in my hand. So that makes a lot of sense. And again, these things don't come in 100%. Is from my grandmother. Okay. Is that, wait, so Thomas was your grandfather, is what she said, right? So that's, again, making sense. Thank you for confirming all this, by the way, because I'm obviously getting stuff and I'm like,
This is interesting.
sure. Yeah. Um, but I think the message here is more of a trying to connect with his family because nobody fucking is connected and you're the closest thing. Does that make sense, Marla? Yeah. Interesting. And this is what a lot of loved ones do, by the way. This is very common, which is why somebody in the family will get like the dreams or like the feelings or the visions or the hot, like the smells or whatever, because they're actually trying to connect and like come back and reconcile or like reconnect and reaffirm that they are around, that death isn't the end. And this is actually what happened to me and my father, which funny enough was interesting because my father was very much an atheist. So for him to come back, I was like, what? But anyway, here we are. Does anybody else have any questions? And then if you guys want to ask me questions or whatever, you can ask.
Well,
Well,
that was
I
awesome.
heard an interesting thing about God and atheists and the different parts of the brain that are activated when people are thinking
Mm,
about God. So when atheists have, thoughts about God, nothing in the brain really lights up. But when they're having thoughts about the collective whole of society, that's when the parts in the brain that are normally associated with God light up within the atheists. So
right.
for your dad to make contact with you from the other side almost seems natural because that's really where his conception of God is located, is within the people around him in the society in general.
That's an interesting perspective. I would have never thought of it that way, but it does make sense. Um, the thing is that, like, what I've learned is that everything exists. And everything exists because it can, because the universe is made out of thought. So really, if you thought it and if it was written somewhere, it's out there somewhere. And for atheists, everything lies on a spectrum. So if obviously you have a believer, you need to have a not believer, an unbeliever, whatever you want to call it. Because this is what lends to the balance. What do you think about walk-in spirits? Oh, have had a few of those. I believe I have a walk-in spirit because for a while when I was in my 20s, I thought I had DID. It has a twin flame current living at this home on this planet. Interesting. So if you had walk-in spirits, you're actually a channel and you're just not like you're more open than you realize. My son has a gift of well, he predicted my pregnancy. He said, Mama, God told me I'm gonna have a baby sister. 9 months later comes a baby girl. Yeah, when
Well,
children have, huh?
that's crazy. Yeah.
They're all
She just.
fighting with each other right now. Who
Oh, you
is?
were on it too, right? Didn't
It's
you
so
say that Mike
interesting.
contacting you because you're the only person they can contact?
Yeah,
Mhm.
oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
cool.
That's crazy. His name is Virtual. Dante, Marla, Vincent, Alice all live in a different system.
Marla's coming up too. So he's talking about Marla. We've got Marla in the comments. That's weird.
How
Synchronicities all over the
interesting.
place.
Just remember, there are demonic angels and human ghosts. You have to know the difference. So trust your fear instinct. It's there for a reason. No, actually, I deal with demons. I
Okay.
have no fear instinct with demons. And demons are something that I deal with often. And negative energies. And you just have to learn how to, once you learn what, how do I, how do I say this? Demonic energies are not a joke. And yes, you have to understand the level of seriousness or caution that you should have when approaching these things. And anybody that's kind of just starting off with their abilities or hasn't evolved a very good level of discernment needs to be very careful with what comes through because I've already had experience with other mediums who thought they were channeling something and it was something very, very tricky and very, very negative. And that actually happened to me in the beginning. So many energies try to come through and masquerade as something positive and beautiful in your life. And you have to be the one as the vessel, as the discerner to know the difference. And that's one of my earliest lessons was getting attacked literally daily. And my husband saw this actually, and he was a witness to this. When demonic energies were around and were trying to enter me and were within me, um, what that looked like and having to fight that off and discern from what was truly meant to do good for me and guide me as opposed to what's trying to trick me and have me disconnect from myself or lead me down something else. And if you don't understand the difference or how to instill your power, you can be very much tricked. And so I do appreciate your warning, but I've definitely entered a level in my life where like I can literally, it's almost like I just pick up on them and I know where they're at, and then like my team helps in removing the energy or me myself. So it just really, really depends on what it is.
Fear is like a 7-course meal to a demon, so he's looking for that
Yeah.
fear. And it opens up the door to a lot of other fears in your life, because once you start to fear, then everything else gets activated and he could see what you're really afraid of and really start to tap into that fear.
Yeah, and then that's what they do. So you can't give them that power. And once you do, I've literally had, I will never forget this fucking demon. He was huge. He was like big and bulky and black and just like all big and bad. And he was like up in my face and he's like, "You're not afraid. You should fear me, fear me." And I was like, "You are literally just like me. The only difference is you chose yourself. That's it." And then he just looked at me and he's like, "This bitch." And I was like, "Wow, what are you going to do? I'm not going to be afraid of you. I'm not afraid of demons. There is not a demon yet." I mean, I've been a little worried, I'm not gonna lie. There's a few that I've been like, "Whoa, yeah, you're scary." Um, but again, you have to also know that you're divinely protected and how to use that to your advantage. And your truth is your sovereignty. You are a sovereign being. And if you know that, what are they gonna do? It's like the vampire lore. You gotta invite them in, and I don't invite them in. Do you understand? It's my power. This is my space. You can sashay. You can sashay away. So, of course, I'm making it seem very like nonchalant. The actual experience of this is brutal. That's just all I'm gonna say. It's actually brutal and very frustrating and time consuming and energy draining and debilitating. But, you know, that's for more advanced individuals. And if you happen to be one of those individuals and you need help, I can help with that too. And attachments. A lot of people have attachments. But
Right.
as
And
far as walk-ins, huh?
if we could go back to Marla real quick, we were just talking on the other podcast about how important it is to keep a childlike sense of wonder. And I think that
Yes.
childlike sense of wonder really does kind of diffuse a lot of the anger, right? So if you can get a person into playing a game or having some sort of an experience that produces that same sort of feeling of childlike wonder, you're going to diffuse a lot of conflict. So if that's the message coming from the other side, maybe have like a family game night or something where you can gather people around and they can experience some childlike wonder or some communion outside of the problems that they're having already. So I think that would help.
Yeah, I think that would definitely help. Yeah, and anything that's going to like what everybody talks about, raising your vibration. Your vibe is really the most protective thing that you can have. And this is why healing is so important because as you heal, you raise your vibration, and then now you're entering into different realities. What was your reality before now isn't. Okay, walk-ins. My hair's color's changing. Everything does so braid because his vibration is too high. When Virgil walks in, okay, my hair stands up. Good, that's normal. My eye color changes. That is advanced. And I haven't done a soul braid, okay, because his vibration is too high. If his vibration is too high, that means yours is probably too low. And if that's happening, and if you do want to make some sort of like a connection, then you have to sort of be a little more open to what this is. The problem with that is with walk-ins. As you are open and you're an open channel, you're also allowing other things in you. So you have this is where that discernment comes in. What are you allowing in you? What is walking through you? And are you sure it's in your highest good? Because if it's not, then you're gonna have a pretty nasty experience. Um, but if his vibration is really high and you can feel that, then I would say that this is a you thing where you have your own, you've created your own block or your own obstacle. And there's a imposter syndrome sort of thing going where you don't believe in your power. And so that trust that you need to start developing with yourself, accepting that either the diagnosis or what the fuck is going on.
That's the
Well, the
imposter syndrome
diagnosis,
you were talking about.
well,
He had a real
yeah,
problem sort of accepting all of that because he didn't think that's who he is. So I think that might be important, because a lot of times people are
it is important.
diagnosed and it changes
Well,
their whole
that's the problem.
personality.
Oh, yes. I'm actually helping somebody who was diagnosed with bipolar syndrome. She lives in Malaysia, actually. So I have international clients, which is very interesting. But we're working on that because she was diagnosed with depression and bipolar, and I'm having her understand that while, yes, this is obviously everything at the end is a mental problem. But there is a certain level of control that you do have, and that all comes from healing your conscious awareness and then the subconscious too. And we're kind of working on that. But the diagnosis, and the problem with modern medicine or Western medicine is that it disconnects you from the other side of reality, which is this more unknown or spiritual side. And so when people get a diagnosis, it instantly lowers their confidence. It instantly lowers their power or their sovereignty or anything because all of a sudden you've broken a trust. You're like, oh my God, all these things that I thought I was feeling, I'm a fucking nutcase. And obviously, what's going to happen is like you dwindle down and then you turn off, so to speak, especially if you're on medication too, like beta blockers and things like that. That's also going to turn you off. So then that kind of creates this kind of conflict within the brain of, okay, well, what's real and what's not? This is where you have dissociation or psychosis or schizophrenia that, with hallucinations and things like that. So it just really depends. But if people were a little bit more receptive to healing and the type of healing that they needed to do, this wouldn't be as big. Part of the problem is that everybody's saying that this shit doesn't exist. You have these experiences, nobody's there to guide you, and now you're questioning reality and you think that's not going to create a mental problem. Of course it is, especially if you question yourself.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Um,
I
was
don't,
there other questions? Was there anything else in there? That's not,
I don't know.
nothing
I
else.
saw something, but I don't know I don't know if it was like a confirmation or a yes
Yeah,
or a no.
why I thought. Yeah, no, nothing new from Marlo. For some reason, I thought I might have seen something new from Marlo. My apologies. Oh, Helen, did you have anything?
I'm actually trying to pull up a diagram right now that I think would be interesting. So this is Isaac Bonowitz's Laws of Magic, and identification is a big part of how he sees the laws of magic. Let me see.
I don't even think I've heard of this
Let's see
before.
if I can do this. Um, so what is it? Well, I can kind of zoom in.
Okay, Deborah, have you used the those? Oh God, why am I forgetting the gateway tapes?
No, what is that?
Oh, that was from the Monroe Institute. They're the ones that
Oh
they.
no, oh no, I haven't. I mean, I know of them and I've read a little bit, but I haven't gone deep diving and stuff like that. But I know that they do a lot of work with the stream of consciousness, especially with the astral realm and like out of body experiences. Having everyone chill out and play together would be exactly what my loved ones would have done if they were here. Thank you so much. It's my first ever psychic reading. Girlfriend, come on over. If you have more questions, you can DM me or send me an
Check out
email and I
our site.
can help answer other questions. Yeah, I'm very like open. I answer my own stuff. Nothing's I'm not that fancy and automated or whatever. Like I'm an actual human doing things. So you can ask me and I will respond.
Yes, yes, she is.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do have your for people interested. I do have your link tree too in the show notes already. So
Ah,
you guys,
yes.
yeah,
Awesome.
sure that was
Hmm.
it.
Hopefully it's working. I should
Yeah.
probably type that.
Oh no, it is. I checked it. I clicked on it.
Okay, okay, good, good, good.
Yeah, I
I
want to
was
make
like,
sure before I put it in there myself because
thank
I've had a
you.
link tree go bad on me. So it happens.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes things need to be updated. Um,
Here we go.
but what is this? So let me see. The laws of
This
magic. So
is
unity. Oh my God, that's perfect.
yeah.
Pragmatism, synthesis. Knowledge is right smack in the middle. The qualitative diagram of the primary interrelations. Words of power, yeah. And their inside association, synchronicity with polarity and perversity. Interesting. Synthesis.
Well, that
This is a
polarity and
little,
perversity, that's like
yeah.
the inversions of
Yeah.
the polarity, right?
This is
And
an
so
interesting diagram. It's a
association,
little crazy. Yeah.
right? Association has that identification right there. So that
Right.
would be in the diagnosis block. So once you start identifying with that diagnosis, that's sort of what your personality becomes. And
Right.
it's right
Well,
there in
this
the
happens
Course
with
of Magic.
everything.
Right.
Yes. Right. And this is why you need to do the healing, right? Because if you are not in tune with who you are authentically or what you are and your own truth, you start to then sort of become the reflection of others. So like if somebody says you're, I don't know, you're, I don't know, like a scumbag, whatever. I don't know, and you really don't have a high self-esteem or a high self-worth, or you really aren't in your power and you don't know your own truth, and you hear it enough through society or through your family, through your friends, that's what you identify as. And so what happens with individuals when they have mental illnesses is that sort of low confidence, insecurity, low self-worth, misunderstanding of who they are, why they are here, what their purpose is, and then somebody gives them some sort of scientific or medical diagnosis, and because it's scientific and because it's medical, it's absolute truth, and this is what I am.
Right.
When
Right.
things can be relative.
Right. And having that idea that you don't have to always identify with the things people tell you puts an end to the nominative determinism, right? So this is a term I
Right.
learned a while back where the name that you're given usually ends up having something to do with you with what you do in life, right? So
Yes.
you've got, bills that act like other bills. You've got
Yes.
all these different people with these names, and they seem to sort of gravitate towards the same stuff because it's like this nominative determinism. It's a form of magic.
It is, and magic is, such a complex and like big thing. But I love that you mentioned that in the name because a lot of people don't realize how much power is in the name and why you chose this name or
Yeah,
this name was given to you. And so if they did and they actually resonated with this, like in order for you to resonate your name or understand why you have the name you have, um, you would have to be at a certain level of like awareness. But there is power in a name, and as a matter of fact, when I speak to guides, some guides will not give their name because of the power that it holds and because of what it can activate too within the soul. I literally have two guides right now. Out of all my guides, two of them have still to this day refused to give me their name. And they're just like, Deborah, we are so connected to you. I don't know what this will activate in you if we give you my name, like our name. And I'm supposed to be going slow. Like I'm supposed to be taking it slow because what I went through the first few months was so traumatic to like myself and like my soul that my team was legitimately scared. Not only my spirit team, but like my family, my friends, and everybody was legitimately scared for me. And they're like, we're not going to do that to you again. So names have power and they can be very activating, very healing. For instance, my name is Deborah. It's Hebrew for bee. And also, Deborah was a prophetess in the Bible, one of the only, and she was a judge. And she was the only female judge, I think, in the Bible. So she was just and fair, and she went through the community and prophesized and taught the word and things like that. And when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. But what's even more interesting is the bee, because before this started, I started, and I can still do this. I started seeing hexagrams in my room, golden hexagrams all over my room, like a grid. And now I know my name means bee, and bees are probably one of the more sacred or revered animals in, like, essentially the world because of what they can do and what they produce. Um, so I think it's pretty much an honor to be named after the bee, and it'd be
Highly
interesting to
linked to
see what you
psychic
guys.
activity as well,
Yes,
because they have a hive
exactly.
mind.
Yes, you do.
That's a very yeah,
Pretty much, yeah. So a lot of can be associated with our names. My daughter's name is Evangeline, and let me tell you, I again was atheist. I wasn't into like this, but for some reason I decided like this was her name. She is Evangeline, and Evangeline is the evangelist, the evangelize, the messenger. So I don't know what that's going to mean for her, but yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely.
Was there was there anything else that you would like to mention about yourself, Deborah, or anything maybe that pertains to like your services or your website or like who you are or whatever before we wrap it up?
Well, yeah. So I mean, I guess part of my message is if I could do this, and if I can connect to the truth of our reality, or part of the truth, because it's not like we know everything, but at least part of the truth, and I'm able to kind of receive messages and enter into my own healing process and heal and become more in tune and embody my purpose, so can you, right? Like if I am not some sort of, I don't know, divine saint. I'm human like anybody else. And that's what my first name is a Hindu goddess, and my second name is an Egyptian goddess, and I'm not East Indian nor Egyptian. Can you guess what they are? Well, a Hindu goddess, the first one I thought of was Kali. So, and the second one
This is right.
for,
The last name.
yeah, and the second Egyptian goddess, if it's a goddess, it would probably be, I don't know if it's Isis
Yeah,
or I
you
would,
were right on the collar.
yep,
I
yeah,
would think that one too. There's a lot to
yeah,
choose from when it comes to Hindu goddesses too, but Kali, for that to pop up, it was, woo.
yeah. Kali popped up real strong. And then the Egyptian goddess is either going to be either Isis or
She's saying it is.
hang on, yeah, okay. Kali Isis. That is beautiful. Both are very, very, very amazing
So when she's saying
goddesses.
homestead
So
trad wife, she means really, really traditional.
yeah.
That was awesome. That was.
But yeah, that is amazing. But yes, so I guess that's my message. Like anybody can do this. We could all have the power to awaken to our own medium abilities or psychic abilities if we had, first of all, the courage to like explore what that means for us. Second of all, the courage and commitment and discipline to heal through the pain and through the wounds and through the subconscious programming. And three, to remember like there's just so much more than meets the eye, and we do have the ability to do this. And this is why I do the subconscious healing, because again, it's through the subconscious that you access the soul. So yeah, and I guess what I want other people and everybody to know is that it's not, it doesn't need to be woo woo. It doesn't need to be like this is, oh my God, I'm going to tell you. So I'm a very, very practical human. And I believe in being able to apply and actually integrate these things and not like come from like my ass. You understand? Like this is supposed to be real healing work so that people start to trust that these things are real, and not a con or whatever. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's where the healing takes place, is when people can integrate the things that
Yeah.
they've experienced back into their normal life, and that's where they pick up and actually become valuable and useful.
Yeah. So that's what I'm here to do. And I'm a real person. I'm really cool, I think, to talk to. I talk to Nick every now and then, right, Nick? Am I cool?
Yes, you are. Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely a gangster for sure, in my opinion.
For a gangster.
Yes. But and you know, I will say, like you're just saying, you know, Khan. I mean, yeah, I just think, right. I mean, honestly, my opinion, just what you did on the show today was actually kind of impressive. I mean, kind of spot on with a bunch of stuff already. So, that was a lot of fun, and I thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. If you ever want to come on, you know, if you ever want to come on in the future again and do that to, you know, promote yourself again, please. I mean, that was a blast. That was actually really
Oh
interesting.
my God.
So,
Yeah, I'd
really,
love to
please
do
welcome.
this.
But
Yeah, and if you guys are ever open and courageous enough to see what comes through for you guys for your show, for
oh
your
yeah,
people,
yeah,
I do that.
sure, yeah. Maybe we can talk about doing it next. Maybe we'll talk about doing it. All right, that sounds
And
good.
Deborah, the mailbag's
Awesome.
always open. If you ever want to come on there and give your impressions of people's occult experiences, that's when they send them to me. So that would be a very
Oh
interesting
my God,
topic.
that would be really real cool. And then I can like tap into like whatever it is people's experiences are and stuff. And I think for me, this is also a really fun experience because again, I don't do it like this often. And to just kind of be able to like pick up on things and not see a face or like anything is still, it's pretty impressive even for me. I'm just like, whoa, oh, okay.
No, I think that was great, actually.
Yeah. But somebody said I was really fun to talk to, so I'm saying thank you very much. That was very, very kind. And I appreciate that. So, and if you want to keep on talking, you guys know where to find me now. So come on over.
Definitely. Yeah, and you let everybody know where they can find your stuff again. You did say that, right? You plugged everything.
Yeah, www.paranormalparadigma.com, Instagram, TikTok threads, and YouTube, though YouTube is more in the works. But it's at Paranormal Paradigma. And the cool, very cool lady. Thanks. Um, and the cool thing about also that I want to kind of put out there, because a lot of people don't do this, but all my readings are pay what you can. So like I'm not here trying to charge $200, $300 for a reading because I think that's not where I'm at right now. I think what I'm trying to do is really reach as many people as I can so that they understand their own truth. So if you guys are interested or like whatever, whoever is listening can do this at a pay what you can price. So
Very nice, very nice. I appreciate that.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I will have your link tree in the bottom. Like I said, I tested it out already. It works, so everything will be in there. And
Thank
let's
you.
just remind everybody again about your shows on Thursday.
All right. So tomorrow we've got an Alchemy Monday, and this is going to be a big day. We're going to be making tea with a big old Soxhlet extractor. We're going to get a little footage of that going on, and you're going to see how it works. So we're going to start extracting herbs pretty soon. We're going to be reading through Spagyrics. We're going to be reading through Miracles of the Forge and the Crucible, and a couple other alchemy books that are just coming in. So it's going to be an awesome time. Also, we've got the Thursday mailbag, of course, with Nick. And if you want to get your emails to us on Thursday, that is headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com. Send us those stories. And if you give me your address, Nick will send you 8 stickers. So Sundays, also we have the trialogues. So definitely check out the trialogues with Ethan Indigo and Rico Calvario. They're a great time. Lots of synthesis, lots of syncretism. So it's a good time.
Definitely check out those shows and definitely check out Deborah's links. Again, check out, she's on social media. I had a great time, Deborah, for real. I'm glad you
Thank
came back
you.
on, and we definitely have to get you on the show again in the future. So
Awesome.
thank you. And
All
everybody in the
right.
chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody in the chat. That was fun as hell. I appreciate everybody joining in, the questions. People, they were interested. This was fun. That's why I go live. And I kind of was hoping it would go this way. So thank you all. And until the next one, everybody be well.
To the next one.
Later.